I'd like to tell you a quick story about something that's representative of far too many interactions that I've seen inside organizations, specifically between the product team and stakeholders. So the setting here is a meeting, okay? And the meeting's purpose is to discuss proposed improvements to a new self-serve investment product. It's popular, but there's been a recent spike in help requests via chat. And the cost of those requests is steadily starting to outpace the product's profit margin, which isn't that big to begin with. So their overarching business goal here, which has been clearly shared and hammered home with every single person in the room during a week prior, okay, and reiterated at the beginning of this meeting, is that we have got to find a way to cut the cost of that support, that chat support, by at least 40%. The word from on high is that if we don't get this done in the next 6 months, we're going to kill the product altogether, which means this department likely goes away with it. So we got a UX team of 2. They're pitching suggested improvements. It's a prototype walkthrough, okay? They're showing a number of really solid improvements in on-screen instruction language, prompts, interaction sequence flow, UI design. All right, I'm just an observer here. I'm watching. So they finish, and the CFO asks, okay, so what's the benefit of doing all this stuff that you're proposing? What's the benefit of these changes? And the 2 UX folks answered, well, this is going to be a lot easier to use for customers. And the CFO says, with all due respect, why do I care that it's easier to use? How does that solve our problem? So the 2 get flustered. All right, so she gets a long-winded explanation about user behavior and cognitive understanding and how this makes things more obvious and easier to understand, faster progress, etc. So she's hearing lots of good UX 101 from these 2. And the furrow on her forehead is getting deeper and more pronounced the longer these 2 people talk. And finally, after 15 minutes, she can't take it anymore, and she interrupts. Look, that's not what I asked you. Let me be clearer here. Why do I care about any of that if the goal is to cut cost, which, again, if we don't accomplish, means that we're going to shut down this product altogether in 6 months? Nothing you've said so far tells me how this work you're proposing achieves that goal. All I know is that customers will be happier, which is obviously a good thing. I get it, but it does not solve our problem. This wakes them up. So they're red-faced and they're embarrassed. And, they finally, in a very halting sort of way, spit it out. Okay, so research and prototype testing showed us that this specific sequence was the part where nearly 70% of all people gave up and initiated a chat conversation with support. So we believe that if we make it painfully obvious to people what's supposed to happen here, and we guide them through it step by step, that the number of requests should go down by at least half. So what we want to do is we want to implement it this week, this sprint, and test it live. So CFO's face relaxes at this, okay? She even smiles. Do it. Go do it. I've seen hundreds of variations of this story, okay? Hundreds. And when I coach teams, I've taken the place of that CFO, right? The problem wasn't the improvements that the UX team was proposing, okay? The problem was their complete failure to explain how it solved the pressing problem on that CFO's mind. The problem is that they did not lead with that information. It wasn't the first thing out of their mouth before anything else. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again until I am in the ground. No one outside you and your team gives a shit about better UX or better product design, okay? What they give a shit about is what those things are going to help them achieve, okay? How those things are going to help them hit their numbers. How those things are going to help them solve their problem or capitalize on some opportunity that they believe is really important. So you lead with that, with the part they care about, every single time. Hey folks, I'd like to take a quick minute to tell you about my UX 365 Academy, what it is, and why I started it. Let's start with the facts. Typical UX bootcamps, my favorite topic, cost anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000, okay, for anywhere from 10 weeks to 6 months. And while they promise a hell of a lot, including job guarantees, they deliver far less than that price tag suggests or promises. Now what happens, based on conversations I have every week with students and practitioners is that they leave candidates with this wonderful set of perfect world methods and processes, which all look great on paper. They sound great on paper, but they fail spectacularly the minute you try and introduce them or implement them inside the walls of a corporate organization. Why? Because for the most part, I've said this before, but no one but you gives a shit about good UX or product design unless they can see how it already helps them get where they want to go, unless they can see how your work gets them what they already want. Which means that learning tactics or processes or software is not enough to get a job, and it's also not enough to be successful once you land that job. What you really need to learn, okay, is about people and politics and how the day-to-day dysfunction drives UX and product efforts. Okay, you need to learn how to manage that, deal with it, overcome it, transcend it. All right, all that dysfunction and difficulty. You need to learn how to get and keep respect, especially among your non-UX and non-design counterparts. You need to know how to lead, no matter what your position or role is, because everybody in this profession has to be a leader. That's why I founded UX 365, okay? To teach all that stuff that you're not getting anywhere else, but probably should be. Stuff that you should have learned, but didn't. I conceived this as an alternative to grossly overpriced, under-delivering boot camps. So instead of thousands of dollars a year, UX 365 is $168 for a full year, 12 months. That's your coffee budget every month, okay? And for $228, you get a live monthly group coaching session with me where we work together on whatever you're dealing with or struggling with or working on or trying to achieve. That subscription gets you access to every course, every training video I've ever created, along with every full-length book and ebook, cheat sheet, guidebook, workbook, live events, all sorts of stuff. All right, and I add new ones throughout the year, new courses, new books, new training videos, new live events. You get new, no bullshit training content throughout the year that is the direct result of my 30 years consulting with some of the largest companies in the world. If I haven't done it, I don't teach it. This is stuff that works where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. That works in the less than perfect reality that we all work in. So I hope that you'll take a minute and check out UX 365 at the URL on your screen. And please feel free to hit me up in the comments here with any and all questions. I will see you in class.